In January 2023, India surpassed China to become the world's most populous country, with a population count of approximately 1.417 billion, as against China's 1.412 billion, as estimated by the World Population Review (WPR). This graph shows by far the most accurate numbers, given by the China's National Bureau of Statistics, on a decline in the country's total population by 850,000 between the beginning and the end of 2022. This creates both opportunities and challenges for India. While this increases the human capital, thereby enhancing the productive capacities across economic sectors, it also adds urgency for effective education and health programs and job opportunities to ensure the productive use of human capital. And despite the global turmoil from COVID and the Ukraine-Russia war, the long-term growth story of the Indian economy remains the only bright spot in a depressing global economy. This has helped attracting foreign investments in the country, with FDI inflow reaching an all-time high in 2021 to 2022 at almost $85 billion. India's emergence as the world's fifth-largest economy, overtaking the United Kingdom in 2022, marks the beginning of the Indian era in the global growth story, and it is set to surpass Japan and Germany to become the world's third-largest economy by 2029. And if the pandemic has had one crucial lesson for the global economy, it must be reducing the overdependence on China-specific global value chains. It's evident from the Ukraine-Russia war or the recent disastrous COVID-19 surge in China that the overdependence on specific economies is bound to have cascading effects on the world economy because of the macroeconomic shocks they produce. And also, the contours of economic partnerships have changed. Countries now want to have an equal balance between globalization and localization through bilateral and multilateral platforms characterized by leveraging sub-regional comparative advantages. To a large extent, these emerging forms of globalized models are also based on controlling Beijing's political and economic process in the Indo-Pacific, and besides all this, India plays an active role in the region. The US-China trade war and the pandemic-induced supply chain disruptions from China have indeed paved the way for many Western corporates to consider a China plus one strategy, a strategy in which companies avoid investing only in China and diversify their businesses to alternative destinations while still maintaining a presence in the country. While many also consider Vietnam as another economy to be in the race of attracting investments fleeing China, but still India has the highest chance of being the favorite one in this C+1 game. There are various reasons for India to surge ahead of others and lead the world economy. Firstly, India enjoys a comparative demographic advantage over China. While the under-30 population in India is about 52%, it is around 40% in China, which is going to shrink faster for the latter in the next 10 years. The young population is expected to boost consumption, savings, and investments, which are necessary conditions for India's future goals of a $5 to $10 trillion economy. Also, the low cost of labor and other forms of capital in the Indian markets gives the economy a distinctive advantage in bringing down production costs and hence making commodities more price competitive in the international markets. This 2022 estimate shows that the average Chinese wages per hour is almost 5 times more in comparison to Indian wages. By leveraging the scale economies in manufacturing, India has the potential to become a sizable global player in electronics and semiconductor products as part of the C+1 diversification strategy. In fact, India's labor cost is also half of that of Vietnam. The heavy investment in physical infrastructure through government schemes, such as the National Infrastructure Pipeline for FY 2019 to 25, is expected to bring down the costs in the manufacturing sectors. In the same way, the Indian transport sector is also expected to grow at a CAGR of 8%, and this will cut transportation time and costs by approximately 20%. Alternatively, in China, pickup facilities, over-the-road transport, and final delivery are done by different companies, which increases the transaction cost of the entire process, and in this case, India has a clear advantage. Also, the recent policy interventions in encouraging the business climate in India through measures such as production-linked incentive scheme, reforms in tax regimes, liberalization of the FDI policies in manufacturing, setting up of land pools, and organizing regular business summits have definitely helped India to counter China and attracting investments to the domestic economy. All these, driven by the Make in India initiative, has taken the domestic manufacturing sector to a whole new level. The pandemic created a digital wave across the entire country, and India rapidly harnessed its high internet penetration at 48.7% to convert digital skilling initiatives for returns on various economic sectors. In fact, the right mix of homegrown technologies such as the Arovia Setu or Digiatra apps, as well as the wider penetration of Google and Facebook, which are banned in China, give the Indian youth a cut above the rest in terms of access and knowledge of digital facilities. And the widespread of the English language skill set in the young Indian population undoubtedly puts India ahead of China. As English is the second official language in the Indian states, it provides business executives with ease of communication in conducting business with the European clients. In the post-pandemic world, countries are now cautious to strike the right balance between globalization and localization, and to a large extent, these emerging forms of globalized models are also based on controlling Beijing's political and economic progress in the Indo-Pacific and beyond, where India plays an active role. Indian diplomacy is indeed playing an extremely important role in responding to energy in the modern world. As India assumes the presidency of the G20 and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization this year, it provides the nation with a unique opportunity to cover the changing terms of globalization, while being one of the strongest voices for the global South in recent times. Finally, one of the advantages with China over the last decade has been the massive size of the domestic market. With its huge population and rising per capita incomes, the only way to compete with China, a country with such a market size and with increasing incomes, is India, which presents a large market with a huge population of 1.3 billion whose incomes are increasing at 6.9% per annum. Compared to that, Vietnam presents a much smaller market with a population base of 98 million. Given these, there is no doubt that globally, the Indian economy has risen from the ashes like a phoenix after a year of negative growth caused by the pandemic-led lockdown, and is only going to get better.